so let's share Leo's exit ticket from yesterday. So the question was about measuring. I wanted you to tell me, how do you measure? Shh, boys and girls, if you are up here talking, we're going to ask you to sit down. How do you measure to the nearest inch? Quarter inch, actually. So look what we had here. This was so good. Leo, I gave you a 4. This was my only 4. So if you're in line and you're chatting, Abby, I'm going to ask you to sit down and not share. Sawyer, you have to stop talking. Thank you. Okay, so here we have what Leo wrote. Leo, you are welcome to read it if you'd like, but I can't see your face. All right, so here was the exit ticket. It said, explain how to measure a line segment to the nearest quarter inch. Here's what he wrote. On a ruler, there will be smaller marks that divide an inch into 4 equal lengths. I will line up the line segment from the start of the ruler and see which of the smaller marks showing the 1/4 lengths it's closest to. That was great detail, and I can visualize that and picture it. I wanted everyone to say too, to make sure you line the ruler up on the edge of the item and either use the 0 or the edge. Okay, Henrik, you want to read what you wrote? You got to use the microphone. I'll be wiping.
You have to measure by going on the inches side and lining it up with something with 4 inches.
Excellent. Here, you may go sit down. If you need to make corrections, here's the 4. Start writing. You don't have pencil.
You have to line the
Sure. Excellent. Nice and loud. Come all the way up here so our friends at home can hear.
To get the correct measurement, you need to line up your measurement to the 0. If there is no 0 on the ruler, you line up your measurement to the end of the ruler.
That's what I was looking for. Lining it up is important. That's what we were having trouble with.
If there is no line it up with the 0, if there is no 0 on the ruler, then start from the end of the ruler and count to the nearest inch by the number on the ruler.
And you said something about the lines there too, looking at the line. Thank you. Have a seat. You do not have to share if you don't want to.
First you can use a ruler, but you have to line it up to the end of the ruler or to the 0.
Excellent. Don't forget that. That's important. Over here. Over here. So they can hear you.
You use a ruler and you start with a 0, then you look at, and then you go to the 1, and the line after it, the 1/4 is your answer.
Thank you.
How you measure to the nearest first 4 inch is you take a ruler and it has numbers. And you go to the number 1, and you go to the first line, and it is the answer.
Nice job. Thank you. All the way over here. So they can hear you.
You start at the end, then go to the 4, and then you go to the next line.
And she drew an example so I can understand that too. Thank you. Quick, quick, quick. All the way over here if they can't hear you otherwise.
You have to be on the inch side. The first line is 1/4. The second line is a half. The third is 3/4.
I love that he said that. No one else really said that you have to be on the side with the inches, not centimeters. That was really smart. And he even labeled the parts of the whole, which is the inch.
Start at the end of the ruler and then go to whatever it lands on, and that is your answer.
And I love how she said you got to look at where it ends. Okay, so you guys all had different ideas, but everything was important. So I wanted to go over that because we don't really talk a whole lot more about measuring in this unit. So that was important to me. Hopefully you got to change or add that detail if you didn't, because that's something we wanted to do today. So that takes us to today's lesson, which is on not measuring length, but today we are going to be measuring liquid volume, or we can talk about capacity. Capacity is how much it holds, right? So looking at liquid volume and capacity. So our learning target today is to use customary units of liquid volume. That's just fancy way of saying not the metric system. We're not looking at metric system today. Tomorrow we'll look at the metric system. Today we're looking at the US customary system of liquid volume. And the reason we're going to be working on that, so we can solve real world math problems that involve measuring. So think about the real world. What are some times we need to measure liquid? Any ideas? I have a ton, but I want to hear from you, Cooper. Say again? Shoes? For liquid, water, juice, milk, pouring. What are you thinking? Water bottles. Astria, another one. You might need to know how much your water bottle holds because maybe you want to drink a certain amount of water in a day to be healthy.
Measuring cup.
Okay, what would I use a measuring cup for?
To, like say if you're baking, you need to measure it 2.5 inches.
Or cups, you meant, because you
Cups.
inches was yesterday. Yeah, I know it gets confusing. So Thanksgiving's coming up. We're going to be doing a lot of cooking, right? A lot of baking over the holidays. How many of you like to bake cookies and so forth? So you might have to add some milk to your for your ingredients. All right. Any other liquid volume things, Serne? But what are you measuring? When do you measure liquids? For what? What are you thinking? What liquid? What? We talked about milk maybe in a recipe. We talked about water in a water bottle. Water in what? In the dough? Sure. One more.
Cups.
Cups? But cups of what?
Cups of like water if like you need a certain amount of water for something.
Right. So maybe to fill up a bathtub, or maybe you need to water plants or any of that. All right. So we're going to measure using customary units of liquid volume. We're going to estimate how many cups, how many ounces, how many pints, how many quarts, half gallons, and so forth are in each. And we're going to actually hopefully get to some word problems and see if we can solve some involving these. But before, we should be so fast at these. But I need to remind my friends in person and at home, you are to write these down. They're not just here for you to look at. So in your math spiral, you're going to write the problems down. And here's why. Serne, get that pencil ready. The reason being is when you write something and then you solve it and get the answer, it helps you learn it. So I'm not trying to just make you work so hard that you get frustrated. I'm trying to help you learn, right? That's my job. So I'm going to give you a minute to write some of these down. You might not get to all of them, but at least get those first 4 written. We should be able to rattle these off super duper quick. They're the same ones on the top that we did yesterday and the day before.
I have a way to remember 7 times 6.
Okay, I need you to sit down. Thank you for following directions. Reese, I can see you're working hard. Haley's getting her stuff ready, writing things down. Leo's working hard. Oh, it's good to see you, Leo. Now I see you. Katie's working hard. Especially when you do the last four, the 2 addition and subtraction, I want you to show me how you're doing it. If you just write the answer, you're not going to get into the routine and the habit of how do we solve these problems? How do you make new groups to 10? How do you ungroup? So when you write it, and write neatly, stack them. Use the lines on your paper to help you. Good job. So important. Look at you. Yes, yes. Okay, I think we're ready. 7 times 6. I know Finn wanted to share a strategy. Finn, what did you say?
I do 7 times 2, and then take away the 1, and then that equals 4, and then 6, you have to do 2.
Okay, it has to go with something we talked about, one of our strategies. Is it a shortcut or
Well,
adding on?
so you can remember it by doing 7 times 2, and then take away the 1, which is 4, and then
Add the 2 back in.
take the 2,
Okay, interesting. All right, 7 times 6 equals?
42.
42. If you know 6 times 6 equals 36, all you have to do is add 7 more and you're going to get 42. 8. I ate and I ate till I got sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. 7 times 7, trickier. Sunny Cow, what do you think? 49. How do you know?
Because I know 6 times 6. No, 6 and 8, when I do, you come back to 48.
Okay, but we're doing 7 times 7. So if we know 7 times 6 is 42, isn't that 1 more? So if you have 6 7s equals 42, can you add 7 more and get 49?
Yeah.
Sure. 6 times 6 is
36.
36. I have to do that because my Zoom people are on the right there. All right, let's walk through this one. Anybody at home willing to do 782 plus 309? Haley Calendar. Go for it.
So for 782 plus 309, so it's 9 plus 2 equals 11. So you put down the 1, carry the 1 to the 8, which makes 8 plus 1 is 9.
And then the next one is 7 plus 3 equals 10. So it's 1,091.
Terrific. Awesome job. Okay. Anybody else willing to share their thinking? Max.
You add 2 plus 8, which is 10. You put the 0, then you add the 1. And then 1 plus 3 plus 7 is 11. So you put the 1, then you put the other one up there. Then you do 1 plus 4 plus 6, which is 11. And then you put the comma.
Can you read that without saying and?
1,110.
Nice. Okay, Marin, we're subtracting. Be careful. Now 634 minus 146. Pretend you had $634 and you spent 146. How much do you have left?
You can't take 6 from 4, so you cross off the 3 and make it a 2.
She says you can't take 6 from 4 because it's too small. You have to make it 14. Good job.
And then 6 take away 14 is 8.
So it's 14 take away 6 is 8. Can I do 2 minus 4, Marin?
2 minus 4 is 2.
Can I do 2 minus 4?
No.
2? Can I give you 4?
No. So you cross off the 6, make it a 5, give the 2 12, and then 12 minus 4 is 8. And then 1 take away.
No, you always start at the top. You're not doing negative numbers yet. 5 minus.
1 is 4.
All right, can you read it without saying and?
488.
Awesome sauce. All right, Elena. 932 minus 567. Well, you can, but we're doing 2 minus 7. Can you take 7 from 2? No. So what do I do?
You go to the 10, and then you cross off the 3, and then you put a 1 and a 1, and then so 12 minus 6 equals 5.
Excellent. Can I do 2 minus 6? No, 2 is smaller than 6. So what do I have to do?
You don't get that.
Here, let me show you. I'll show you. I know what it is. I know what it is. Cool. I know.
Show me on your fingers how many of these you got right. Out of, let's see, 8 of them. How many did you get right?
So 2. What is 2?
Wow. Then how many fingers did you have up? 8. Good job. We're getting it, you guys. I'm so proud of you.
2 times 7 equals 14. Then you have to add them.
Okay, we are going to be measuring. All right, we're ready to move on. And a hush fell over the crowd. Hush. All right, so today we're going to be looking at these units. We have the cup, I heard a lot of you mention during our learning target. We have the pint, the quart, half gallon. We're going to talk a little bit about and the gallons. So we are going to predict the relationship between these units. So if you are at home, you are going to need, and Mrs. Harrison, you're going to have to work a little bit. You are going to need your math spiral. And I'm going to pass out this paper to the people in person. You guys won't have this exactly at home, but you can write your predictions in your math spiral, okay? So we're also going to be watching Mrs. Aubin demonstrate some relationships between these units. No, you don't want to do that.
What time's the worst?
Boys and girls, I have a lot of people saying, what do I do with this? If you would just listen and let me do my thing, you'll know what to do. You can leave it on your desk, right? You can leave it on your desk for a minute. Yeah, thank you is a nice thing to say. Obviously, I'm not collecting papers right now, right? Right now, I'm passing them out. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to show you, and I wanted you guys to see this. I'm going to have to kind of toggle between, unless I can pin you and keep this up, but I'm going to show you some liquid units, right? And then we're going to see how many of each are in each. So this is going to be tricky, Mrs. Harrison. You guys might not have been sitting there when I passed them out. Do you want to come grab one? I'm sorry. Abby wasn't there, I know. Can you give one to Abby? Thank you. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Mrs. Harrison is going to show you on the spotlight video what I'm doing, and then we are going to try to think about, and I'll have to go back and forth. So hopefully you can see me. So how am I doing, okay? All right, eyes up here. Here is the cup that you guys mentioned, right? Most of us are familiar with the cup. We use it in baking and cooking often. We talk about a cup of milk. I want a cup of orange juice, a cup of, you even use it with dry ingredients like flour, right? The next one you don't hear about as much. This is called a pint. A lot of third graders say pint. It's not pint, it's pint. It has a long I sound. I sometimes during the holidays will buy a pint of heavy whipping cream. That's what I think that I mainly use it for. Otherwise, can you guys think of any other pints? Maybe I usually don't buy a pint of anything, but you might buy a pint of orange juice at like the gas station. Yeah, maybe a pint of iced tea. Okay, so we're going from smallest to largest right now. So we have a cup, but is there anything smaller than a cup that I'm not able to really show?
Yes.
What is that? You're thinking of length and measuring length. Today's liquid volume. I know it's confusing. You guys mentioned it the other day when we brainstormed.
Teaspoon. Gallon. A teaspoon. Cool. Yeah.
Hang on. Are you got it?
Tablespoon. Gallon.
What do you think? Well, you can use a teaspoon, but it's ounces. So on this cup, you'll see there's 8 ounces. OZ is the abbreviation. 8 ounces in a cup. Okay, so ounces are smaller than cups, but I can't really show you that. So we have ounces, cup, pint. This is a quart. Does this look like anything you guys use daily?
Yeah.
A water bottle, right? Sometimes you buy like a quart of milk. I'm thinking eggnog. A quart of eggnog, orange juice. Yes.
I've seen people use it for like pancake art challenges.
I'm sorry for what?
For pancake art challenges.
Okay. I'm not sure what the liquid they would use.
They just put the pancake back
Okay.
and then they put the lid on it and then
And it's colored, and then they can squirt it on and do a design.
We have cups. We have quarts. And then you can buy a half gallon, but what can usually, half a gallon would be half of this because this is a gallon. What do you usually buy a gallon of when you go to the grocery store?
Milk.
A gallon of milk, even water. You know the big gallon jugs of water, right? So if I wanted to measure how much, the volume of a swimming pool, what unit would I use if I wanted to know how much water? I would use gallons. What if I wanted to know how much water I needed to add into my batter? Cup or ounces probably, right? So depending on how much the quantity you would need depends on which unit you're going to use. And that's what we're going to look at today. But I thought it would be fun for us to look at the relationship between the two. So on your sheet, you will see how many ounces are in a cup? 8, right? And then we want to know then we're going to have to figure out how many cups are in one cup. This is going to be tricky because now I'm going to toggle that. I think the talk is you guys can write it in or I can write it in after. So 1 cup equals 1 cup. How many cups can you predict would be in a pint? Make a prediction. Just show me on your fingers. How many of these cups would equal a pint? I think it'll be all right, I see a lot of 2s. I see a 1.5. I see a couple 1.5. Okay, well let's see. I'm gonna fill it up. There's 1 cup. You might wanna change your. I should have colored the one. That would have been living one. Oh, Mrs. Evans got wet.
It was 2.
How many cups in a pint? 2 cups in a pint. So I'm going to show you. This is 1. This would be 2. Guys, here. Look at the screen. Look. So 1 cup is in a cup. 2 cups equals a pint. These are the actual. You guys estimate it on your fingers, right? All right. So the next thing I'm going to ask you, how many cups do you think would be in a quart? Show me on your fingers. I see 3. I see 3. I see 3. All right. I see a lot of 3s. We're going to see how many cups are in a pint. So there's 1. Two. Okay, so would you change your estimate? I'm halfway there. I did 2, and I'm halfway there. Use your math skills. All right, here's 3. It's gonna be 3.5. It's gonna be 3.5. It's gonna be 3.5. It was 3.5. 4. 4 cups in a pint. So we're just looking at cups. There's 8 ounces in 1 cup, but 1 cup in 1 cup, 2 cups in a pint, 4 cups in a quart. Now, oh my goodness.
Oh, we're going to the half gallon.
How many cups do you think are going to be in this? Are we going straight to again? A half gallon.
First it says half
Halfway,
gallon.
just half of it. Just half of it. Okay, 6, I see 10. I see 4. Let's check it out. 1, count with me.
That's a bad high five. No, I don't need it. I got it. 3, 4. Oh no, we're not gonna make it. 5. You can because that's what it is. All right, that's 6, right? We're trying to get right here. It's 6.5. Turn to their half. It was 6.5. No, that was 6.5. That was 7. And we have 8. 8 cups in half a gallon. So I propose that I don't fill it up anymore because I can use my math skills. How can I figure out how many cups are in a whole gallon? Let's see, Sunny, how am I going to figure that out? You're gonna add 8 more.
Why would I add 8 more to get the number of cups in a gallon? Can you explain your thinking?
Because if it was half of the gallon, then there would be half more.
She says if 8 cups is half a gallon, I just need 8 more because half of a gallon, I just need to double it, right? Could I use any multiplication facts to figure it out? Madison, Robert, what multiplication fact could I use to figure out how many cups are in a gallon? Oh, wait. I should only hear Madison or Robert. Times. What would I do? What times what?
8.
What 8? There it is. 2 times 8. And what would I get?
16.
16. So how many cups are in a gallon? 16. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Harrison. Now we are going to look at the pint. So I'm not going to fill this up. I will eventually, but I want to ask you. We know 2 cups are in 1 pint. If there's 8 ounces in 1 cup, and there's 2 cups in 1 pint, how many ounces are in a pint?
16.
How do you know, Lila?
Because 8 plus 8 equals 16 and 8 times 2 equals 16.
All right, thank you. I'm so glad I don't have to fill that up. She's telling me that if there's 8 ounces in 1 cup, and there's 2 cups in a pint, it has to be 8 plus 8, which is 16, or 2 times 8, which is 16, to get the number of ounces in a pint. So can we write that down and hold that up? So how many ounces did you get in a pint? 16. All right. Now, on this one, how many pints are in a pint? We all know. Just 1. 1 pint is in 1 pint. But how many pints do you think are in a quart? 1 pint is in a pint. How many pints are in a quart? Show me on your fingers. How many of these pints are in here?
2.
I see lots of 2s. All right, I will fill this one up for you. No, I'm gonna have to use another. All right, here's 1. 1. It's 2. Here we go.
because there's a
2
line for
pints
there's a
in
line
a
for one
quart.
pint. There's a line for 1 pint, so it's
It is, you're right. All right, now we want to find out how many pints are in a half gallon. If we know there are 2 quarts in a half gallon, hey, this requires some thinking. If we have 2 quarts in a half gallon and we have 2 pints in each quart, how many pints are in a half gallon? 2 here, 2 here. What are we gonna have, Ben?
Hey guys, I know that it's really early for announcements, but we wanted to give a shout out to someone before they leave for the day. That shout out goes to Miss Nicole Hill. Thank you so much for coming in early to get some books checked out for 3rd and 4th grade. Those 3rd and 4th graders totally appreciate that, and so do all of we. Thank you, Miss Nicole.
All right. Any ideas, Serene? How many pints are in a half gallon?
4.
She says 4. How do you know, Serene? There's 2 in this one and 2 in this one, right? Sawyer, can I have full body? Thank you. Oh, wait. What am I doing? All right, so 2 pints in a quart, and there's 2 quarts in a gallon. So what multiplication can we do? 2 times 2, which is 4. Go ahead like that. But you noticed okay, hold your thought. We'll share in a minute. All right, so if we know there are 4 pints in half a gallon, how many pints are in a whole gallon, Sawyer? Bring your stuff right there. I need you to pay attention. Bring your stuff right behind Lennox. Thank you. Charlie, can you explain? So there's 4.5 gallons. How do we know we're in a whole gallon? If there's 4 pints in a half gallon, how many are in a whole gallon? Anybody? 8. Because it's what? What's the multiplication? 2 times 4. All right, Lennox. Look at your paper. You don't have it written down. Excellent. We're getting close. So now we're going to look at the quart. If the quart has 2 pints, right? And a pint has 16 ounces. How are we going to figure out how many ounces are in a quart? If there's 16 in this pint, Evie, and there's 16 in this pint, how can we figure that out? How many ounces are in a quart? You don't have to know the answer. Do you know how we figure it out? Who thinks they can tell me how I figured that out? Miss Mara.
So you would do 16 plus 16, which equals 42.
Close, but not quite. Stack it on your paper and double check your work.
Okay.
We need to add 16 plus 16. Do it on your paper. Stack it. 16 plus 16. This is what we worked on in our review. You should have gotten 32. Nice job, Lennox.
I just want a 10 ahead.
32. So now we want to know how many quarts are in half of a gallon? How many quarts? Go ahead and and show me on your finger. How many quarts do you think are in half a gallon? Show me on your fingers. We're gonna measure this one. I see 4, I see 2, I see 4, I see 3. Okay, we're gonna measure how many quarts in a half gallon. You guys ready? No, what do you mean? Oh, don't worry, I want you to just be thinking, how many quarts are in a half gallon? That's more important than getting that all written All right, we got 1 so far. Some of you just estimated that it would be 2. Let's see if you're right. Bingo! It came right to the halfway mark. So 2 quarts in a half of a gallon, which tells me then, I think I'll be able to figure out how many quarts are in a gallon. 4. Can you hold up yours? Look at it. Nice. Yes, you guys see that? Look at your pattern. What's happening? What is it doing? What's it doing, Charlie Carr? But think of the functions table. You put something in and something comes out. What's it doing to it?
I forgot.
What is it doing? Wait, answer that.
In the quarts, it's 4, and then it's 2 below it because 2 is half of 4.
Yes.
1 is half of 2.
So it's doubling every time it goes up. She's going backwards and seeing that it's half. So instead of copying that, let's label it together, okay? Okay, so we're looking at half a gallon. If we know 2 quarts are in half a gallon, and we know that there's, if we know that there are 32 ounces in a quart, there's 32 in 1 quart. Haley Booker, 32 in 1. There's going to be 2 quarts in half a gallon. How many ounces would be in half a gallon? 32 in 1, 32 in the other. There's 2 quarts in half a gallon.
64.
64, because you're doubling it. See, you got it wrong. Don't copy people's work. Especially when we're doing it together, okay? Write it down, 64. Because what's 32 plus 32? All right. So now I want to do okay, how many half gallons are in that? How many half gallons are in that? So how many half gallons are in a half gallon? 1, right? Noah Giefer for dismissal. Noah. Make sure you have all of that. Okay, then we need to know how many half gallons are in a gallon. Oh my goodness. This one's so easy. How many half gallons are in a gallon? Everybody. Half gallon. Okay, can you pull that up before you hurt? So we have, can you pull it back a little? There we go.
I know.
2 half gallons a gallon. Now, this one's going to be fun. If we have 64 ounces in a half gallon, who thinks they can figure out how many ounces are in a full gallon? Max Fox, how are you going to figure that out?
And you take 120 of 60, you get 40 of 60. That equals 100. The 20 left, put it with the 100.
Oh, no, it's multiplication.
128.
Oh, he's a math whiz. Very very impressive, Mr. Fox. He said 64 plus 64 equals 128. But he did it way more clever than I just did. He did 60 plus 60, but I did a mistake, 120, that's okay. And then 4 plus 4 is 8, and we're going to say it's 128. But he even added to that more. That was great. You did 50 plus 60. Pretty impressive, my dear. 128 ounces in a gallon. And then how many gallons are in a gallon? Just one. You are free, Mrs. Harrison. Okay, let's see. So we did great on that. You guys rocked it. That's a lot. Now let's move on. Here's capacity. Check it out. Oh, it doesn't like me today. I'm going to ask you to sit down. Thank you. Don't walk up to me in the middle of teaching, please. All right, guys, voices off.
One gallon split to fours is 4 quarts. Take that and divide by 2 and you got a pint. Split that pint up into halves and make a cup. And that cup will fit 8 fluid ounces inside of it. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Or 8 pints or 16 cups. 1 quart is 2 pints. Or 4 cups or 32 fluid ounces. 1 pint is 2 cups. Or 16 fluid ounces. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. A gallon of milk split in fours makes 4 quarts. Split a quart of milk in half, then a pint is what you'll have. You can make 2 cups, you see, often when you drink your school milk carton. You can drink the milk in 8 sips, each is about an ounce going through your lips. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Or 8 pints or 16 cups. 1 quart is 2 pints. Or 4 cups or 32 fluid ounces. 1 pint is 2 cups. Or 16 fluid ounces. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. Volume is more than familiar, and capacity in body was similar. And though it's easy to assume, capacity is not exactly wrong. Capacity is how much something you hold, the amount is always the same. Volume is the measure of what's inside, and that amount can change. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Or 8 pints or 16 cups. 1 quart is 2 pints. Or 4 cups or 32 fluid ounces. 1 pint is 2 cups. Or 16 fluid ounces. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces.
All right. All right, we are going to look quickly at, sorry, I tried to move this, page 163. Page 163. In your math workbook, 163.
And if you want to turn around, you might get this better.
So we're gonna choose the best unit, thinking about what we just learned, to measure the liquid volume. So you're gonna actually write cup, pint, quart, or gallon. A carton of heavy cream. So this could be more than one. Lucas, what do you think it would be? This one's tricky. Remember when I said you might make it for whipping cream? You know you can make whipped cream out of heavy cream, or you can pour it in your coffee. What do you think you would use? Well, that's not one of our choices. You got to choose cup, pint, quart, or gallon. You could do a pint. Yeah, you could also, they make smaller one. Madison, I need whole body listening. Turn around. What else could it be? What do you think?
A quart.
Heavy cream? Actually, I have. Have you seen a quart? I've seen a quart of heavy cream, haven't you?
Yeah. You're making something really tasty.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot of it. You could buy it in a quart. I've also seen it in a cup. So that one's a tricky one. I would accept any of those three answers because really, when I go to King Soopers, then I see all three of those. Okay, what about a flower vase? So if I got flowers from someone and I want to fill up the vase with water, what unit would I want to use? Max? A quart. Why a quart?
Because it's small, but not too small and not too big.
Yeah, if I only gave my flowers a cup of water, they would die. Even a pint would probably take it to halfway to my vase, depending on the vase. You could argue it. Right? Thinking about.
Isn't a vase at least this, if not bigger?
Right? So you would want it a quart. This would be way too big unless someone really loves you. I guess you like a couple dozen roses. Then you could use a gallon. All right, a swimming pool. Swimming pool. Abby. Gallon. Why a gallon?
So you're supposed to
I think, yeah, a little bit of side conversation. Can we have whole body listening? Even if you are Sawyer and Robert, speak back so he can look at me. Even if you are talking about that, if you listen up here, I think it'll help. Abby has good thinking. Go ahead, Abby. Why a gallon for a swimming pool?
You use a gallon for a swimming pool because there's a lot of water in a swimming pool and a lot of people want to do like flip stuff into the pool. And sometimes you lose a lot of water, but gallon is best if it's big.
Excellent. The larger the capacity that you're trying to fill, the larger the unit. Very good. A wash tub. Now this one I could take two answers for because if they mean a small wash tub for like a little baby or are they talking of like bathtub? I think they mean the smaller one. It doesn't say bathtub though, it says wash tub. So I'm thinking it's this one. All right, Haley Booker. Quart, good job. Now I think we could argue for gallon. So I'm not going to mark that wrong. I could see, depending on how big that wash tub is, you could argue I need a gallon. It's hard when you can't see it, right? Yeah, because to be honest, this container I use today, I need gallons to fill that out. So probably, depending on the size, but I could see gallon just as much. All right, let's look at Puzzle Penguin. He's been kind of confused today. He's been puzzled.
Did you try to solve the puzzle again?
He did. Okay, so let's go back. Today I had to choose the best unit to use to measure how much water is needed to fill a kitchen sink. I said the best unit to use is cups. Is my answer correct? No, why not? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. Jensen, can you tell us what you're thinking?
I'm thinking a quart to fill a sink.
Okay, yeah, that would work. Why do you think a quart and not cups?
Because cups are one of the smallest, and it would take a really long time.
Yeah, it's a smaller unit. It would take too long. So thinking about what it's going to hold, the size of it, you want to think about the unit that would go with it. So no, you should use quarts, and you could even argue gallons, depending on the size of the sink. I would take that as well. You should use quarts because a sink is large and cups are too small, right? Something to that effect. You don't have to write that exactly. Are too small. Puzzle penguin, he's always confused. Write it in your own words, but make sure you write something to that effect, right? If you want to argue gallons, using gallons, I think gallons would work too, just because I'm looking at this bin and I use gallons on it. Depends on the size of the sink. If it's a big kitchen sink, that would work, but think of it, maybe it's a small bathroom sink. Maybe quarts would be better. So you have to just argue a kitchen sink. We're not leaving. Stop. I haven't dismissed you. All right. I think I am gonna, Mrs. Harrison, would you like me to stop there and I can finish tomorrow? So here's what I would like to do. We don't have much more for tomorrow. We'll finish tomorrow, but before you do that, how are you feeling about liquid measurement? How are you feeling about liquid measurement? Ben, you're not feeling good about cups, pints, and quarts and gallons?
No.
What are you confused about? Do you know which one's the biggest?
Mostly all of them.
Do you know which is the smallest?
Cup is mostly a gallon.
So gallons are your largest. Cups or ounces are even smaller than cups. But before you do that, let me finish with them. Okay, so you're going to have ounces, cups, pints, quarts, half gallon, and gallon. We'll review it again tomorrow. Gavin, do you need to talk? I see your thumb is down. Are you confused on the different units? Are you needing to talk about something else? Why is your thumb down, honey? Guys, you can put your stuff in the basket. Thank you. Do you want to tell me, Gavin, are you okay? You're okay? Okay, I saw your thumb down. And Henry, I see your exit ticket. I will grade it from the chat. It looks great. You did an amazing job. That's a 4. Good job, Henry. All right, guys. We will see you mañana. Have a great evening.
Bye.
Okay, mathematician.
Bye.